Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how to set up a FortiWeb lab using GNS3. GNS3 is actually one of the most powerful tool I've seen when it comes to simulating a networking environment. So we're going to be using FortiGates and the FortiWeb images or GNS3 image. So basically, I'm going to show you how to download the FortiGate or the FortiWeb image. So here, once you have your GNS3 set up, we're going to go to templates, or we're going to install an appliance from the GNS3 server. I'm going to go to firewall, and then I'm going to scroll down to FortiGates. Now this is for FortiGates, but we're doing FortiWeb, so this is FortiWeb. So click install. We're going to install on GNS3 appliance. I do have my GNS3 running on these appliances here, so I could choose any of them, but for now I'm not really worried about which server is actually going to be running on. Click next. Now the current version on this FortiWeb, my own GNS3 lab is actually 7.01. However, there is a 7.2, as you can see here. It's a 7.2, so which means that this particular version here is not the most recent one. Let me see. If I scroll down, I don't have any 7.2 here, but I can show you. I'm going to show you how to actually get what's it called, the higher version. So the first one I'm going to do is to go to support.fortinets.com. We'll get to support.fortinet.com. You're going to log in using your credential. You can create an account by registering. Then once you're done registering, you're going to log in. What I'm actually interested in basically here is actually downloading VM images. So I'm going to click on downloads VM images. Now I'm going to scroll to FortiWeb. That's the project I want to download. Now you can see there's a much more latest version of 7.3 as of this time of this recording. Actually using it on my GNS3. If I'm actually doing it on my EXIOS, which I'm going to create a video for the EXIOS, I'm just going to click on this and download the EXIOS version. But for now, I'm actually more interested in the one for my GNS3, so I'm going to download the KVM. So I'm going to be downloading the 7.2.3 version. So here, this is for the new deployments, and this is 7.2.3. So yeah, I want to download the KVM version. So this is what I'm going to use. Click download. Now once the download is done, I am going to then show you how to move that over into GNS3. So once you download, notice I am downloading the one that has a KVM version. Though this is actually in a zip file, which basically I'm going to unzip once I'm done, and then I'm going to actually install it on my GNS3. Notice that the format it's using is kvm.qcal2. So the first thing I'm going to do here while my download is running is I'm going to create a new version. I'm actually going to choose allow custom files, then I create the new version. The current version is 7.2.3, and this is how the file name is. What I like to do most of the time when I'm creating a file name, I like to make sure that the build number matches the build number that I have on the files that I'm actually downloading. So let me open back my download page. Almost done. About 30 seconds. So once my download is ready, I'm going to open the file. So as you can see, I do have two different QCal file here. Normally I've never seen one with two different QCal file, but I'm going to use this particular one here. I'm going to extract this. The build number that I was talking about earlier is this one here. This is the build number. The build number is 0365. So what I can do is when I extract this, let me extract this out into one of my folder. I'm going to rename the file to look like the format of my GNS3, which is more like this. So I'm just going to go back to my download page and then copy this. But make sure that you end up the KVM because we're going to have it renamed with the QCal. So I'm basically going to replace the file with the name boots with the full file name with the build version. So this is the name I'm basically going to copy. Going to then go to my GNS3 and then replace this because notice the build version is different. So replace this with the correct build version, which is 036. And notice it ends with .qcal2. Click OK. I'm going to leave the image as mt30g.qcal2. Then scroll down, it will be at the bottom. Notice automatically kind of like found my file. We found the file locally. If this doesn't find your file locally, what you can just do is just go to import here and then browse the location of your file, which is that, and then click open. That would basically still add it onto your GNS3 appliance. So the next I'm going to do, since it's already found it locally, I'm going to click next. It says, would you like to install the 7.2.3 version of FoyWeb? You say yes. It tells you that your default username is admin and you've got no password is set. So basically what is currently doing at this point is uploading and everything is successful. So notice that the default username is admin and there is no password. You click finish. And the appliance has been added. So now we have a 7.2.3 version of the FortiGate. Now let's try and download FortiGate. I just wanted to show you the steps again so that you know how to get all this done yourself easily. FortiGate. Don't forget if you're using GNS3, you're using KVM. If you're using FSIOS, you choose that. If you're using other platform, they're all there. So Hyper-V and the rest. So here, in this case, I'm using GNS3, KVM. I'm downloading a 7.4 and I'm not upgrading. Notice that I'm doing basically a new deployment of a KVM, and that's actually my build number. I'm going to just click on download. Now, once the download is done, I'm going to install the 7.4.0 on my GNS3. Notice my IS version here is 7.2.4, so I'm going to create a FortiGate appliance for 7.4.0. Click here, FortiGate, next, next, next. and then we're going to create the 7.4.0. Notice there's no 7.4.0 here. We don't allow custom files. Yes to that. Create new. It's going to be 7.4.0. Okay, notice the build number here is saying 1262, which is matching this current build number. That's not the build number. So the build number of what I'm doing currently is basically 2360. So what I can do is just copy this name here. Go up to KVM, copy, and then go back to your GNS3. Then I like from the KVM, and then paste that. Make sure that it ends with .qcal2. So that is that. Then I'm going to make sure that once my download is done, which is currently done, I extract the file out, open that. Notice that came with this. This is not the file name that I want, but I'm going to extract it anyway. There it is. So I'm going to just rename that file with the same name. And then here, once you rename it, most of the time, it's basically going to find it locally. So I'm going to close this, go back, and then click OK, and then leave that as the default disk. So we'll scroll down to 7.4. Notice what happened. Basically found it locally. It's a lot easier to do it this way. It will be easy to find it that way. Normally I do like my firewall to be FGT. Let me see what I downloaded actually, just to be sure. And I downloaded the right one. I should have downloaded this particular one. So I'm going to make a correction to that. Let me re-download the file. I haven't used the image called FFW. I don't know the difference between FFW and FGT, but I do like it to just be FGT. So I'm just going to download, make sure that it's a KVM. So I'm going to re-download that again. And let me go back to my GNS3. I'm actually going to remove that file. I want the one with the FGT. I don't know why, I just do not like the FFW. I don't know why, I don't even know what it stands for. So I'm just going to stay with my GT. If I refresh this, notice that it's missing because I already removed it. So my download should be done now. Yeah, it is done. So I'm going to open my download, which is this one here. Now my download is open. I'm going to go back to my download folder. Then look for the 40OS. Okay, then rename it. This time I need to make sure that I have the right name, FGT. I like that for 40 gigs. Copy it up to KVM. Then go back to the folder. Rename that by leaving the .qcal2. So that is actually the file name. This is what I need. Good. So now I'm going to go back to my GNS3 and I'm actually going to import. Going to find the file FGT. Yeah, that's the version. It's 2360. I can make sure that I'm verifying the version by making sure that the build version matches 2360, so that is the right one. So I'm going to go back to my GNS3 and choose that file. Yes, upload it. So that is basically replacing that image file. If you notice, it still maintains the name FFW. What I can do is I can basically just do away with this particular version when I cancel this and then try that again. Just like the name to just match all the appliances that I'm actually uploading. Next, next. Let's say we have a 7.4. No, we do not have a 7.4. We're going to allow a custom file, and then we're going to create a 7.4.0. Then paste the file name is LGT, yeah, and then it end with .qcal2. Um, then scroll down, you'll find it there. Around the file name as we change to FGT. Okay, that's good. That's what I want. That's how I want it. Click next. Install. The username is admin. There's no password as well. That has been installed successfully. And then this is my 7.4 FortiGates. So we do have a FortiGates and a FortiWeb. Now, this is how to get the FortiGates and the FortiWeb installed on GNS3. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to actually connect this FortiWeb to the internet on my network. I'm going to connect it to the internet on my network. Yeah, that should be fine. So this is going to be my ISP. So here, I'm going to do it this way. No, I'm going to bring a switch in. That's fine. Choose that one as well. I'm going to call this my LAN. I'm going to put my FortiWeb in my LAN. I could actually put it by this side, or this side, doesn't really matter where I dump it. So I'm just going to name this FortiWeb, and then I'm going to just name this FortiGates. Okay. Now the next that I'm going to use, I'm going to need a server. Now the same way we install this GNS3 is the same way you install a server. Just go to Add Appliance and then Next, and then go to Guests, and then scroll down. You will find Windows Server, and then you follow the step to install that. So I do have a Windows Server 2016. So what I'm going to do is to then connect all this. Connecting this to my port 1, connecting my FortiGate on port 1 to my LAN, and connecting my switch to my FortiWeb on port 1, and then connecting this to my server. This is just a very simplified setup. Of course, in your network you can have multiple servers, but we're going to simulate this environment to make it a simple one. Now, what you then do, I'm going to break this video into series. What you then need to do is to set up the FortiGates. To set up the FortiGate, you need to start that. You also need to do the same thing for the FortiWeb. Now, the FortiWeb actually comes with a 15 days license. After 15 days, it basically expires. The FortiGate, however, you basically need to register that. So what I'm going to do here is open the console of the FortiGates. Once you click start, open the console. Remember the username is admin, and there is no password. So once you open the FortiGate, what you'll see is basically this. Now, in my case here, connecting this to my ISP, I'm actually going to be um, using a public IP address. I'm going to be getting a DHCP IP address from this cloud here, which is basically connected um, to my network, to my LAN network. So that's why that's why that's what is already configured here. You can actually watch some videos on how to set up the cloud to get internet connection into your GNS3. Um, there are good videos out there that will show you how to set this up. So once my FortiGate is fully booted, I'm going to then check the IP address that I'm getting from this cloud link here. Now, notice this has to be registered with FortiGate. Remember, we actually came to this page earlier. This is the FortiGate page. Let me go back to asset management. So what you will need to do is, notice this is one of my FortiGate firewall. What you need to do is you will need to create an account, and then once you create an account, then you will then register your appliance. So I'm probably just going to do that so that I don't have to, or I could just show you the steps so you know how to get that done. So but you definitely would need an email address that is already not used. So of course we're going to create a new email. We're going to use the email to register the FortiGate. So while this is restarting and getting ready, I'm going to wait for the whole process to come back online. Once it's fully online, I'm going to log in, and then I'm going to check if we're getting any IP address, and then we're going to access this using the IP address. I could actually access it from this server here as well. So while this is coming, we could also boot up this server. That's actually a good idea as well. Boot up this server and see how that works. So I'm going to pause this. Okay, let me open the console for the Windows Server. The Windows Server is currently booting. The username and password for the Windows Server is admin. You'll see that also when you install that. So once this is up, um, we can access the FortiGate using this. So I can access it on my LAN. Either way, whichever one works best, it's fine with me. So I'm just going to verify the FortiGate is online. It's still starting, so I'm going to wait for it to fully come back online, which is almost done. It's now showing me the serial number. Um, I'm going to just give it a moment to boot up. Great. My my FortiGate and my Windows Server are both online, so I'm going to log in to my Windows Server. Notice the password is basically admin. I'm going to come here and enter username admin, no password. Now I'm going to set the password. This is the password you're going to be using. Now, the first thing you do on your FortiGate is to verify the IP address on it. So what I do is I do config system interface, then I do edit with the question mark. That will tell me, okay, I can see that I got this IP address using DHCP on my port 1, and of course I connected port 1 and port 2, and my port 2 currently has no IP address. So I could set my port 2, which is basically where my LAN is connected to. My LAN is actually on my port 2. You can verify that by expanding. You can see port 2 goes to my LAN. So I can actually configure the port 2 address on the FortiGate. So I just say edit port 2. Then I can say set IP, and then Question mark is also a very useful thing that you can actually use to set up your device. Oh, sorry. Let's say my IP address is 192.168.177.1 slash 24. Now that set the IP address. Let me see if we can say show. Now notice this IP has been set to this. The next thing you need to do is you need to allow um, access via HTTP. So we're going to say set allow access. We're going to allow it to ping. We're going to allow HTTP and HTTPS. We're going to allow FGFM. So basically, what we're basically saying is we want to be able to manage um, the port 2 via web. We want to also be able to ping it as well. Now, this is the IP address that I'm using. If I set the same IP address on my server, I should be able to ping this. So let's go to the Windows server. Go to the network. I'll close this. So I'm going to set my Windows server to have an IP address of 177.2 properties. Then my default gateway will be my firewall. I could just use that's DNS. At this point, DNS is not my main concern. Let's see if it's receiving anything. For now, nothing is coming through. So let's see if we can actually ping the firewall because we did enable ping on it. So I'm going to go back to my command prompt. I'm going to open my command prompt. I'm not going back there. This is my first time of opening the command prompt. And then I'm going to ping. Now, at this point, I'm still not able to ping this. It's currently timing out. That's because, let me see. Oh, yeah. Now, one thing I've noticed about FortiGate is once you type end or next, the configuration you've applied doesn't really apply. I don't know why. Notice that. So I don't know why, but that's a very common thing. So here you can see it's receiving now and I have the IP. So basically I can actually open the web browser. I'm going to close this, minimize this, close this. It came with Google Chrome, which I do like so much because I don't have to bother about Internet Explorer with these exceptions that I have to add. So now I'm going to open the web interface of the FortiGate. Now, notice I did not put HTTP or HTTPS. The reason is because I already enabled both HTTP and HTTPS here. If it's just HTTPS that I enable, I need to make sure I put HTTPS there, else it will not open. So please note that. Notice this. It's basically opening the FortiGate. So while this is coming up, I'm just going to start my FortiWeb. Start. I'm also going to do the same thing for the FortiWeb as well. Okay, notice that I can log in with the username I created just now and the password that I specified, and then it's going to ask you to actually register the device. I'm waiting for the page to open. It's basically just going to ask you to register the device. So I'm going to register this device. I already explained this, the process It's a very simple process. Just create an account on support.fortinet.com and then register the license using that same account. And once you do that, it should just be fun from there. Let me see. For some reason, I'm having issue viewing this page on my Windows server. It's not an issue. Notice that my port 1 happens to get an automatic IP address, so I can actually use my own web browser on my computer, which is actually in that same subnet 67.239, and then type in my username and my password. And I'm still going to open the same page. Notice this is what is trying to load on that page. So here it's saying I need the evaluation license. So here you just put your username and your password. I explained that you will need to create an account on FortiWeb. So I'm going to do that. Just so once you do that, once you create an account, you just put that username here and the password here, and then you click OK. That's all you need to do. It will give you the evaluation license. So once you have your account created, what you can just do is click on register here, put your email address, and then click register. Verify the account. I can't see that clearly. Okay. Then get the verification code. I will send you a verification email. So you go to your email and wait for the verification code. Once it comes in, you put the verification code that you received, and then you put that here. Waiting for the code to come in. There it is. So the verification code, this is it here. Just copy this and then put it here. Next, then you set a password. And then click next. Once you've done this, this is basically how to register on Fortinet website. Once you created an account, then you can actually come here and then add the email and the password that you used on your FortiWeb website, put in all this information, and then once you're done with this information, then you can actually click OK. So I'm just going to do that. So once you've put in your information, you agree to the license, you read the license agreements, and then you click register. So once that is registered, that's completed. So you click complete, and that's all you need to do there. So you can basically just log in with that email. And then click login. So once that is logged in, notice that I'm not registering any products. So I'm going to come here and then click OK. Then click OK. And then what you see is that this will basically register automatically to this account. Notice that it's rebooting at this point. So once that is fully rebooted, you're going to have the assets automatically here. There you go. See, very simple, very straightforward. So once this is fully rebooted, you basically will be able to manage your FortiGates. This is the serial that I have. It's basically a trial one, so I'm not really bothered about it. So now this is the notice as a trial. It tells you when it was registered, which is currently today's date. Then I'm waiting for it to reboot. Now, while this is actually working its own magic, let me go back to the what's it called? FortiWeb. Is the same step. Open the console. Once you open the console, this is how the console looks. The username is admin. There is no password. And then you type in your password. After you put a blank password, then the next thing is to confirm the password that you want to be using. Now we've been able to log in. So here there's also the same command: config system interface. We can just say edit. Actually, this is going to say the port 1. Then I'm going to say show or get, like so. Show in this case here, I have DCP sets. So right now, I am actually expecting a DCP IP address from this interface here. So I'm going to show you how to set up a DCP IP address here so that this can actually get an IP address. Or best thing I can do is I can set the manual IP address. So let me set the manual IP address here. So I can say set mode static. And then, yep, I'll change it to static. Say yes to that. Then set IP 192.168.177. I can use .3 and then say this. So if I say show again, notice that my IP is already set to 3. And notice that I have ping enable, I have HTTP, HTTPS also enabled. So if I go back to this browser on my server, I can actually type in .3. The same rule applies if I come back here and I try to ping .3. Remember what I said about how this thing behaves until you type end or next. It doesn't really apply. So notice that. So that's very important you remember. So while you configure it, make sure that you make sure that you ensure that you end the configuration before you're expecting that to open. HTTPS. Let's try that with HTTPS. 177 is that the IP I'm using? Yeah, 177. Okay, so I'm waiting for that to open. There we go. So I think my FortiGate is also online as well. I believe I should be able to log in now without issue on my server. There we go. No, I'm not saving that. Then the same thing with the FortiWeb. I should be able to just log in. There we go. So the FortiWeb is opening. Let's see the FortiGate. It's still kind of like being stubborn. If you're having issue with Chrome, just download Edge. That would also work. So while my FortiGate is trying to be stubborn, I'll still open my FortiGate on my PC here. And you can actually set up everything by clicking on begin, or just choose later. In this case, I'm just going to choose later and then click OK. Just going to do a basic setup for my network before this video gets too long. So here is my one. So I'm going to name this one, the alias. I'm going to call this ISP. I'm going to leave it on DCP the way it is. Everything remains the same. Click OK to that. Then I'm going to go back to port 2. And then I'm going to name this my LAN. And then I'm going to call this LAN as well. Then I'm going to turn on the DCP server. I'm going to just say from .200 to, let's say, 205. Just 5 IP address or 6. So here you could set the DNS if you want. You could do the list time, but I'm just going to leave everything this way. Click OK. That's fine with me. It's not going to make any change or anything. So I have my LAN, I have my high speed. The next thing you're going to do is set up your static route. And this will allow traffic to go to the internet using my ISP. And then you could choose a dynamic IP, or you could just specify what your gateway is. So in my case, I'm just going to use dynamic. That will just automatically tell my gateway. If you don't know your gateway, if you know the gateway, you can also specify it as well. So in my case, that's fine. Now this device should be able to get to the internet. So you can test that by saying exec ping 8.8.8.8. Now we have internet access there. Also, we need to have a firewall policy. For now, I'm just going to stick with the hod layouts creates a policy to allow the LAN to the internet. So we're going to say everything coming from the LAN that is going to the WAN. We're going to say all the LAN IP, which is port 2 address, and then going anywhere, and then using any services. We're going to have NAT enabled, make sure the action is accepts. For now, we're not going to use any of the security profile. I'm going to try and log all the sessions so we can see form logs, and then enable this policy, click OK. So that policy, this policy here, basically would allow this device here to actually browse the internet. Let me show you. So let's say google.com. So now traffic should be able to move from my LAN here. Let's go to pinging 8.8.8.8. Now let's see. Yep, there we go. It's opening Google. Notice it's able to ping. The reason for that is because of this firewall policy. Notice earlier it's still on 0. If I refresh that page, expand that, notice there's traffic, and if we check the kind of traffic that is going through that, the kind of traffic is basically this traffic. It's my policy going. Notice this is the one that goes to Google. So this is all this is what's going on here. That's why I put all the logs there. Okay, so while that is working in the background, the next thing I want to do is to quickly jump over to my FortiWeb. Where is it? FortiWeb. I did open it here. So here is my FortiWeb. I'm also going to notice at this point here, my FortiWeb, let's say, cannot get to the internet. Notice that it can't get there. So what we're going to do here is go to network. On the interface here, we only have port 1, which is basically this. So what is missing is the static route. We're going to create a static route, and then we're going to point this to go through the FortiGates. The FortiGate IP is 192.168.177.1, and it's actually going to be going through the port 1 and going anywhere. The destination will be any, which is 0.0.0/0. Click OK, and that already is the static route I need here. So if I go back to my console, I repeat that same command now, oh, voila. So you can see that I have internet access on my FortiWeb. So at this point here, I've been able to configure internet access on my FortiGate. I've been able to configure internet access to my FortiWeb. So my FortiWeb have access to the internet, and my FortiGate have access to the internet. So I'm going to stop this video at this point, so that the video doesn't get too long and too boring. So this is basically how you need to set up your FortiGates and your FortiWeb on GNS3. Please put in your comments if you have any question, if you have any difficulty setting up your own. Let me know. I will actually be happy to help. This is going to be a serious video, so I'm actually going to show you how to create an IIS server, how you can use FortiWeb to manage your server, and so on like that. Thank you so much for viewing, and please share this video, put likes and a thumbs up for the video if you do like it, if you find it very interesting.